Before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Magic Satchel. Link in the description. Make sure you check him out for all your cards, supplies, and everything you need to play this game. He's the best. And with that out of the way, enjoy the video.
Hey Team Absolution fans far and wide. As you can see, there's a lot of people on the couch, so it's gonna be a long one. Stick around. Alright, Absolution fans.
We have fans?
This is the grand bargain.
We have people who like us?
Nobody likes you, Braxton. Calm down.
I'll just
Alright,
leave.
don't get too excited. The only person who's ever mentioned you in comments is sitting in this couch, and he's right beside you. Alright.
Wait, Tiz or Keith? They both are true.
Tiz, not Keith. Keith never once asked for you in a video.
Tiz has asked me to leave video for Bryson. Which is really sad.
Alright, so,
Thanks, man. I appreciate
welcome to the
your
Grand
support.
Bargain. This is going to be hard, so I hope you follow along. Take a seat. It's going to be tough, but we're going to make it through.
You're going to have a difficult
Alright.
viewing experience. Enjoy your...
You might want to take off your headphones and just put your cell phone on the speaker. So, or your computer, whatever. So there's a lot of new faces on the couch. A lot of the same faces. Some of them you've seen already in Bargates. Jesse has joined us once again. Jesse's husband Jamie has joined us. I don't have a nickname for him either. There's someone who commented actually a nickname for you, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So
it was the Meister?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna call you Jesse
That's
Meister.
like what the technical word for the white shorts player.
Mr. Meister.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you're like card fighters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, white shorts.
No,
Meister.
no, we're Vanguarders.
No, I'll slap you. I'll throw this drink across the bar. That is the table.
good apple juice.
So Matt, obviously, the Immortal Greed. The Magic Satchel, our sponsor, also known as Tiskill in the comments if you've seen him.
Or Kevin.
Or Kevin. Also in the Discord as the Magic Satchel, our Discord. Make sure you check out Discord. Of course, the Braxton Express, the Immortal, not the Immortal. The Irish,
I'm so greedy, I take names.
the Irish God. And then I can't forget the boy, our top champion from Nats.
I got it.
The Griffin. The Doom Bringer, the All Bringer, the Whiskey Bringer.
This is apple juice. What are you saying?
Doom Bringer Griffin. So,
The apple juice drinking Griffin.
it was hard to figure out a good topic that we could all discuss, but I think we settled on one. So today, as you know, Bargate is our homage to the old Damage Check style where we sit around and we talk about something. 90% of the time, it has very loose connections to card games.
I thought we were talking about what the best con roll
I'm going to
was.
throw this glass at you, man.
I think we need a talking object.
Do we have to start it?
Just pass the Jesse around the room.
So,
talking point.
what?
Technically, yes.
Alright, so today we're going to talk about the game store experience and how you can best support your local game shop, alright? Because we all have one. Or maybe you don't, and you're thinking about, like, if one ever opened, what you could do to support it. So, most of us have been to game shops. Some of us want to open game shops in the future. Things of that nature. So, I'm going to start off with Keith. What do you think is the number one most important thing that goes into a successful game shop?
The one most successful thing.
You can't say Magic the Gathering either.
I was gonna say that's the only
that's
answer.
it.
That's literally the only answer. Why would you say that?
Magic together. Magic together. Magic together.
Stalking MTG, of course.
I think having an online presence is very helpful to a local game store. That's
I
really
like it.
my contribution.
Now I'm going to bounce around because I'm not going in order, alright?
Oh.
Jesse, what do you think is the biggest downfall to a successful game shop?
I think when I have like 10 answers. I think when management or ownership stops caring.
Okay.
So like if you have a shop where there's an absentee owner and they don't have a good manager. Our store doesn't really have that problem. I think our store people care a lot, but like I've seen other shops where like it's just run by somebody who finances it and doesn't have anything to do with the store, and there's not really a direction for the store.
Okay, I think that's great. I think I kind of agree with that. All right, this one's for you, the satchel. No, that's a question. I got the question. All right.
Is this a game show?
Is there, when someone supports a local game shop, do you think it is the shop's responsibility to also have fair prices in return, or do you think that they are fair to really upsell whatever they feel like because if they're the only game shop in an area, that's just how supply and demand works? Even though online kind of ruins that whole concept.
It needs to be on both fronts. Like, people need to understand shop owners need to pay for overhead, employees, air conditioning, electric, all that. And so, yes, they need prices to be at a certain point, but you also have to be competitive. So it has to be this give and take relationship of be fair, but be honest. You don't have to go and charge insane boxes. I've gone to locals where Vanguard boxes are $150, and I'm just like,
Really?
how? Oh yeah. I'm not like.
That's disgusting.
There are numerous ones in Philadelphia that just charge $150 for boxes, and that's just, you're not really doing your customers a service, and then the customers can't in turn want dirt cheap prices. Sometimes online is just the way it is because the race to the bottom is so prevalent.
Right.
So I think there's a happy medium, and as long as you come to that understanding, then you're fine. So don't overcharge, but don't think that you're going to get dirt cheap boxes for cost.
Right. So don't expect what you get from a distributor, but also they should be fair as well and find some kind of equal. I think that's very true. Okay, Ryan, this one's for you.
Yeah.
Should people go out and destroy communities?
Well, I think people should be free to bring in their ridiculously overpowered decks and play them. I think it's kind of a hallmark of bad players that they see something they can't get over and then just walk away after one attempt. However, was it good of me to earn my nickname? Well, it made for an interesting story, didn't it?
And at this point in the video, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the conversation started to derail.
Ryan's trash, everyone else is cool.
Well, technically you got it backwards. Everyone else is trash. Ryan's cool.
You actually bring up a pretty good topic that I was going to kind of hit without you asking me a targeted question. Yeah, sure, you can go in and dominate depending on if you're hyper competitive compared to a casual kind of scene. But the other thing people tend to do is they're over aggressive with the owner. Yo, listen, this set's going to be the bomb. You need to go all in and buy 6 cases. Everybody's going to buy it. Definitely not. Everybody's going to buy it. And then they buy the cases and then nobody buys them. And then the next thing you know, the shop's in debt now because they went ham on a set that's not even good. But you gave them the illusion that so many people are going to buy it. Because everybody goes up to the owner and it's like, you're going to buy it, and you're going to buy it, and you're going to buy it. Yeah, got the money. But then family stuff comes up, you lost your job, you just never had money to begin with.
You just didn't have the paper.
Right,
You said you had.
And we laugh, but I've seen this happen. And it destroys shops, it really does. And people don't realize it. That's why shops don't jump into all these new games, because they're afraid. They're like, this is what works. Magic. This is what doesn't work. My unknown. Any new card game.
Yeah,
Keyforge, Argent, Dragon Ball Super.
Okay, no, I get that. Braxton, I'm going to sidetrack from his point to you.
Oh, God.
When do you think a shop should enter into a game? Do you think because obviously, as Tiz said, obviously it's dangerous for a shop to go into every game that ever comes out, right? It's oh, My Little Pony, the card game is coming out, time to 12 grand going into that.
God, that was a thing, wasn't it?
It absolutely was a
It was
thing.
an expensive
It was an
thing.
incredibly
Oh my
expensive
God.
venture. So what do you think? We've gone too far.
So stupid.
They killed Kaijudo for this.
They really
My
did.
favorite son.
They killed Kaijudo for this garbage.
Anywho,
So
so
Dora the Explorer card.
when do you think it is? Do you think it's the people who go in and be like, hey, I have like 8 people who will play here every week. Do you think that's when the shop should start supplying some of the support and stuff like that? Do you think they should start generating interest beforehand and have the stuff? How do you think it works?
You asked I don't even know why you gave me this question.
Yeah, I gave you a dense one, Brax.
One.
I gave you a dense one because I trust you.
Wow. Well,
Don't drop the ball.
just going off.
It's falling.
It's falling. It's falling.
I'll
It's
take
falling.
this
I'm going down.
I think
So if we do, shut up.
I got you going.
I'm letting my ball drop. Stuck.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah.
So, just based off personal experience, and by personal experience, I mean your personal experience. The only reason why we had a community back to begin with is because you generated promise and hype for it, and then you got people to show up.
Right.
So, that would probably be, you have to create like a comfortable seat for the store to sit on.
Yeah, I mean that's how I agree. That's how I kind of did. I was like, because they'd be like, oh, I don't have like they have like the new sets and stuff like that. I was like, well, we got to show them that we're gonna be here, because like I don't. But then if we prove to them we're gonna be here, then they're gonna start doing it. And then if we prove them we'll buy it, then they'll keep doing it. And then that's kind of because it's a give and take kind of thing.
So if I
that.
Go ahead.
can, another thing is that you could go back to.
No, that's fine. Do you? I'll get you afterwards.
Okay. Like starting Weiss, I went to like probably 3 or 4 different stores in this area trying to figure it out. The store has to be open to the community wanting to be there and supporting the community too. That's all I wanted to say.
It's true, yeah. Because I mean, I remember you trying to start the Weiss community in other shops as well, and you had some hesitation in certain shops versus others.
Yeah, and like they were happy for us to play there, but they weren't gonna buy the sets when they came out, and then nobody wanted to play because they couldn't get the newest stuff.
Absolutely.
And that just comes down to more established shops. So like somebody who has the wiggle room to take that chance is going to be more open to taking a chance rather than the shop that's literally hanging on a thread.
Well, this was actually one of the biggest stores in the area.
Yeah, I know exactly what.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name the store, but the store is huge, and like they just wouldn't supply because like their revenue came from one particular source,
Sure.
and they were never gonna divert anything
Magic.
else from the source. It actually wasn't magic, but yeah.
Well, then they're doing their own.
And the biggest thing is
But
just
it was just such a big store that they had so many things going on, and
Right.
we were just very not on their radar.
Absolutely.
And so like if they got a set in, they got it in, and maybe they got a box. So
No,
it was really hard to run events and stuff like that there.
completely get that. Braxton, you wanted to say something real quick.
So yeah, actually, that Jesse's point actually works on that perfectly because so now we're at this point now where we got like a community again. We're doing things and we're getting like boxes and stuff, but we're still not like getting the supplies, man. No offense, I'm tired of buying dragon shields. I want hyper mats. I want oversleeves, and
Yeah,
and we're
they
still
even
not,
took away Ultra Pros.
and we're still not getting like.
What happened to Ultra Pro? That's because you want your 350.
I want my 350 sleeves.
yeah, but I can give you the answer. It's because there's no margin. There's margin on Dragon Shield. There's not margin on Ultra Pro.
Oh really?
Yeah, like it's just that's the fact. Like
I don't
care.
but
As the consumer, I want it.
well, right, but like I'm here to tell the community that like sometimes you gotta look at it on the business aspect of things. A store is going to carry things that they see move. Number one, Dragon Shield, big name, and 2, that have profit margins that are beneficial. You're not gonna buy a $2 sleeve and try to sell them for $3. That's not a profit margin you want in your store. It sucks. You have those sleeves to get the people in, but then you try to move them to Dragon Shield. You'll see people all the time at the locals out where I go. They'll be like, oh, I bought Ultra Pros, but I always seem to have to buy them. Which sleeves do you recommend? You know what the owner always does? Dragon Shield. Every time. And it's because the Dragon Shield sleeves, they can mark it up, and they make a lot of money off of that. And that's how you run a business. You gotta take what you're gonna make a lot of money off of, and you gotta roll with it, and you gotta know what you're gonna push a lot of.
I guess it feels different for us because they kind of they Stockholmed us into Dragon Shields instead of easing us. They took away Ultra Pros altogether.
Well,
We don't even have the option anymore.
Yeah, like if I want to like get KMCs, I can't even go to my store to get them. I had to like order them or literally go to you.
but like
Which
your
takes
store
away from
cannot
supporting the store.
stock Dragon Shields, Ultimate Guard, the real cheapos, which are 50 cents. Like they can't stock everything. Because everybody has a particular preference when it comes to sleeves. Some people like Ultra Pros, some people like Eclipse, Dragon Shield, KMCs,
I
Ultimate
like
Guard.
waifu sleeves.
I'm sorry?
I like waifu sleeves personally.
Well, right, and so carrying all of that is a lot because you can easily throw $15,000 into sleeves just to stock so that people have a selection. And then what? Are you just out when they don't sell? Like, you're not going to move the inventory. So you specialize and you know what sells and you go, I'm going to carry small dragon shields and I'll carry standard size dragon shields because that's what moves.
Gotcha. No, it makes sense. The next one I want to go to is, this is kind of something that I think we've all had experience for, and you and I, and you to a certain extent, have had experience. They're in a tournament situation when you're trying to run tournaments through a local game shop. And I got a question for you, don't worry, Jimmy. You sit tight. I remember specifically us three, Keith, Ryan, and I once had a debate about the participation pack versus the no participation pack.
Oh, yeah.
What's best for the store, what's best for the individual. So I'm going to start with Matt, who went on the far end
Oh,
of the scale. Matt, I don't remember back in the old days of GT.
Yeah.
Matt, not only was there no participation pack, not only was it to the top, it was all the packs are opened.
Oh,
And the winner picks from the prize
It's
pool.
prize pool, baby. It rewards the good players. You win the tournament, you get that $40 Vermilion is what you get.
I mean, that's
Wow.
not a bad way for a competitive
That's
scene.
interesting. That's really
But it sucks for the casual.
Oh, you're right.
That's why,
Oh, you're totally right. But you know what happens? Is you...
People get good.
Let's say his point real quick.
I mean, it's all fun to say get good, but that's exactly how Ryan and I learned how to play card games.
Yeah.
We buzzsawed ourselves until we got good, and we got those top prize pools, and that is when prize pool felt the best, is when you work your way up. I'm like, yeah, I'll get the third rare. No, I get the double rare. No, I got the triple rare, because I got first.
I hope no one takes the chick. Oh, there it goes.
Like, I can just imagine the store that Matt has later on. Like, if he opens a local game store himself, he's gonna have this golden dish out on the table. You're gonna have to like cut your hand to put the blood in to like start.
Welcome to the salty.
Welcome
Welcome to the salty spittoon. How tough are you?
When you become a member of
later
the shop,
today.
you pay a blood oath.
Yeah.
so like something, and this is kind of a recommendation that my card shop, which is very well established in the area, does. They have both a competitive scene and a casual scene, and they try to cater to both because it's not fair for the 14-year-old to come in who won't have money, that has to get their allowance from mom and dad, and they're not just going to have the meta decks, right? And sure, somebody who has a job can just waltz in and top all the time and pick that card. So what they do is they have their typical packs, and you get one pack as participation, and then obviously more packs go to the top. But then they also have reverse prize day, and that's random, chosen by the owner at a specified time. So basically it's like 1 week out of the month that's randomly chosen, they're not back to back, and it's said at the beginning of the tournament, so that the person, or at the end of the tournament, sorry, so that the person at last, if it is that 14-year-old, then he gets 6 packs for trying. And I know a lot of people might say that sucks, but it's actually fair because the packs don't mean, just because he's getting 6, that doesn't mean he's getting the highest rarity. But like you have to cater to everybody, and that's the thing in the world. Like that's why it comes down to be online, be local, cater to everybody. Because the moment you lock in and feel like, oh yeah, it's competitive, I'm gonna have this type of thing, you're gonna lose a lot more than you think.
You're completely right, and we all wholeheartedly disagree.
I want to slide. I want to slide Keith in on this because I know you have such strong. Where do you think it? Look, first of all, I'll start with yes. You're right. You should try to cater, but it's also very hard to cater for everyone because sometimes communities aren't that big. Like I know, for example, if you tried to do a competitive tournament at your Weiss, would that be like largely attended and incredibly? I mean, maybe it would. I don't know.
Well, we actually tried once, and we lost a bunch of people, but we kind of had a unique solution, but I'll let you know.
Right, so
Yeah.
Keith, I want to slide you in real quick.
Slide into these DMs real quick.
Slide in with your refresca. It's time to come in.
Yeah. All right.
Sponsor.
So,
Oh wait.
how I think you should treat this when it comes to a local game store is you have to know your environment in regards to this. You can have a community that is hyper-competitive. You cater toward the hyper-competitive community. If you have like a very casual one, then you cater towards a casual community. You treat it based on how the weather looks like at your local area. Like, there's going to be communities like Matt's that are going to be like, everyone's up there, they're gearing for that win. And they're fine with like, I'm going to throw $5 on the table, if I lose, that's the end of it. I don't see any value to that money. Other people are going to be like, well, I really want to open a pack, you know? And that's fine. You know, you can have that person that's there, that's a fair thing to have, you know? You're not just going to be like, you know, screw you. You know, that's like, you're a piece of trash. I mean, beat you to the ground.
Why didn't you have $40 dotes?
Yeah, that's right. So you just have to play to whatever's going to be most successful. And I think by and large, like if you were to take the average community, you would probably lean towards casual. There's not going to be that many hyper-competitive ones out there. But you just have to learn to which one you need to tailor that towards so that you have a successful locals, and whichever way that might be.
Okay.
A point to know is that for all those people out there, the card, your local game store, does not typically make the most money off of your hyper-competitive player.
Mm-hmm.
The hyper-competitive player will always go to the lowest price, go out to the groups, go out, trade, do what they need to do to get what they need.
Right.
Your casual player will buy boxes and packs and buy singles from the store that are overpriced, and it just is what it is.
The casual always pick the box over the single.
Never the store credit, always the packs.
So like,
never the store credit.
if we wrap this together, who actually supports your local game store the most is people who care, who might be, you know, competitive,
Or naive.
but not the person who's only thinking about themselves. I'm talking about community builders that may be competitive, but they're not hyper aggressive. We're like, I'm going to Nats and I'm gonna try and top and yada, like they don't care about the local game store. They care about walking in, trying to top, taking the top packs and walking out. They're not buying sleeves, they're not buying boxes, they're not buying anything. They walk in with a pre-built deck that they bought online, shipped from Amazon, Prime,
Magic Satchel.
right?
.tcgplayer.com.
And that's just the fact of the matter.
Alright,
so,
wait, hold
so
on.
hang on. Alright, so I ask you, should the hyper-competitive player who has gone through the trouble of figuring out how to play their game on a budget, so shall we say. So they've figured out all of the tricks, they've gone to the groups, they've traded, they've bought singles from TCG Player, check out themagicsatchel.com. And it's not a real website. And not yet. So should the hyper-competitive player, because we are talking about supporting your local GameStop store, whichever. Thanks, Apple Juice.
There's nothing that's gonna save the local games.
It's gone the way of
Babbages.
In any case, should the hyper-competitive player consider putting more back into the local game store? Or is their presence there to show up, be a part of the community, boost the numbers, boost the prize support for everybody else, and not?
Well, that's where when I talk about a fine balance. Like, if a hyper-competitive player walks into a store and sees boxes of, let's just say, EV08 or whatever for $35, that's reasonable. You know, that's reasonable for both the store, it's reasonable for the player. Even at like 38 to 40, 40 is kind of pushing it, but 35, 38, reasonable. And that person will buy, as well as you'll get the casual audience. But if that person walks in and you're trying to get $60 for an extra booster, that dude is just walking in, taking the prize support, and walking right out. Pieces. Deuce. Out.
Well, one thing I remember Braxton back in the day, even in his most competitive formats, he would always, even if we bought like 8 boxes from a distributor or whatever, he would buy 1 box from the shop. You would always put the cash, you'd buy 1 box from the shop.
Yeah.
GT or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You'd pay whatever the overcharge was, whatever it was, because you'd be like, well, I gotta buy 1 from the shop because I gotta support the LGS. I think that's a good balance, right?
You would also have
If you can afford it.
You ain't saving nobody with 1 box. Let me tell
Hey,
you, bro.
but the point is, it's not the hyper-competitive guy's job to save the shop. The shop needs to save themselves. That's their job.
Yes.
No. They decided to own the business. They decided to take the incurred. It's their economic responsibility to make sure they can survive. As somebody who goes to the shop, it is my job to do what I can. If Brax decides I'm going to buy 1 box, shoot, that's still one box they didn't have to worry about selling. That's still, he came in there, he bought the one box out of the goodness of it heart. He couldn't stop out, get him another box. So like, don't say like one box ain't saving anybody. Maybe not, but that's still one box that he didn't have to buy from them.
And what we've all learned by getting to know Braxton better is he's a lot better of a person than most of us.
But hold on, so I want to go back to what Jesse was bringing up. Jesse Bargate, we ranked each other.
Yeah, I wish I could be Braxton.
Braxy will also help you open 11, 12 boxes when the set drops the day before we leave for regionals.
Yeah, that was a time. We were on a tight schedule.
You were mentioning about the competitive thing that you try to, something about how you mitigated it or something.
Okay, so what we do, so like, we have a really mixed scene for Weiss where I play. We have some super tryhards like myself sometimes I don't. But like, and we have people who like just like anime card games, which is cool. So what we do is we do, everybody gets a prize pack because in Weiss you always have the chance to open an SP, and that's always really exciting when somebody gets it off their one prize pack. And it happens more often than I feel like it really should, given the odds. But anyway.
That's true.
So like, it happens and it's cool and it's exciting and you get something for your $8 or whatever for the tournament. And then I haven't been as good about it this year because I've been super busy, but I try every other month to do a special tournament. So we do special rules. So like, waifu tournament's really popular, so, because it's a waifu game. So like, or husbando, I do that. Great deck, it's great. So like, you choose, yeah it is. And it's like really, really aggressive. It's aggressively shirtless. But like, so you pick like special rules. So there's also a game you can play Dice Schwartz, where you play with random rules and like all sorts of things. So trial deck tournament. In March, sometimes I'll do St. Patrick's Day themed, and you have to just use green colored cards. Or,
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's just like just whatever you can come up with. And so like it kind of mixes things. Yeah, we're super.
I'm sorry. Was that offensive?
Continue.
But yeah, so
I got you, buddy.
Shamrocks flutter in the distance.
so you can kind of mix it up. And Popper, I think, if you can, I don't know if you can do Popper in Vanguard.
You absolutely can.
Actually.
Lazy Peon.
Lazy
Lazy
Peon
Peon.
format. Well, it's a lot harder to do now than back in the day. Back in the day, it was a lot easier.
How? It's so easy.
Well, in G era, it was a lot harder, rather.
Okay.
In standard, it's a lot
V-era,
easier.
yeah, we're back
But
to
in V era, because with the reprint sets and stuff like that got foiled, like because like Lazy Peon was like no foiling of any kind could the card ever be printed in a foil. But like in G era, you had like reprints that were like
Rares are foil, aren't they?
No.
Rares at the top. Rares at the top of it.
That little plastic they put over a rare is not a foil.
We could make a real format. Like we could just make a restricted list.
I also want.
Oh, we do restricted for Popper because there's some things that you just can't.
I did special tournaments back in the day. Jose refuses to.
Well, I don't refuse to. Okay.
Where are they?
Look.
The special rules tournament every round, amazing.
It was so much fun.
I didn't even get a chance to play it, but it was just beautiful.
I just want to say that earlier when Keith was like, I was like, dude, man, he's being really rude to Jesse right now.
He's always rude.
That's all the thought about in my head. I'm like, dude, he's really trying to get some attention. I was like, I'll get to you, Keith.
He's always so rude.
I think the TOs really need to have not only a creative mind, but like a lot of time on their hands. Because that's what a lot of game shops tend to not have, is they'll have a TO, and that TO will have a lot of time and put a lot of effort into the community, and then life happens, or that TO gets a different job, or something like that, and times change, and then that TO like leaves, and that changes your whole locals.
No, it does.
Like entirely.
And there's something to the art of community building. That's something I do in my job, where like we say that if you have a community tied to a certain person, you don't really have a community because you have it centered around a leader. And so there's like this whole different philosophy of like creating a sense of sharing responsibility.
No, see, I'm more like, I agree with a lot of what both of you are saying. I think that having a leader to build a community is important, but the community itself cannot be dependent on its leader, or else it's not a real community. The thing is, the community has to be able to sustain itself without your presence. Because I think it's both a lot to ask of any one individual to be like, hey, I know this is your hobby, but I need you to be here every week.
Yeah.
Or I need you to do this every week. I need you to do this every other week, or whatever. That's a lot to ask of any human being who's like, look, I just wanted some people to play Vanguard with, and no one else was stepping up to the plate, so here I am. Or like Weiss, or Kaijudo, or Keyforge, or Duel Masters, or Shaman King, whatever the game is.
Or whatever the
One
name
step
of
too
your
far.
game is. What is it?
Argent something.
Argent side.
Paragon.deck.
So I think, but the thing is, the community should be able to exist without any particular leader because the leader built it to be able to sustain itself in some form or fashion. Like groups have been made, friendships have been made where they can be like, oh yeah, I know how this works, because there won't be people who are there every week. And they'll know how it goes. Plus, like, in a lot of communities, yes, you have the occasional kid, like 16-year-old, 15-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, but a vast majority of them, or at least depending on the card game you play, but a lot of them are adults. And adults should learn how things function over time and be able to
Yeah.
handle
Sorry,
things.
and we use the term adults like loosely because like
We all play
they're
card
like
games.
legally maybe. That's about as far as I would go
Like,
for
if
a lot
you
of
really
these
want to
people.
support your LGS, though, honestly, like, invite people in. Like, for God's sakes, I've been to locals where, like, I walk in, nobody says hi. Like, you know what I used to do at my locals? I used to, like, hey, you're a new player, like, welcome, my name's Kenny, like, I have no stakes here, I'm not, like, a big figure or anything, I'm not a community builder. Our tournament operator's over there, his name is Oliver, whomever, you know, this is the shop owner, they run the shop, you have any questions, like, talk to them. And, like, sometimes, depending on my financial situation, I might buy them a child deck. I might buy something, you know, just welcome them. Because like, a lot of people come in, and I've seen it happen. Like, there's a little kid at my locals once. He came in, nobody spoke to him. And his dad's, like, sitting at the front, because obviously he drove him there. And the kid just left in, like, tears, and dad's like, what's the matter? He's like, nobody talked to me. And I just got beat into the face. Like, that kid never came back.
Yeah. No.
That sucks.
Actually brings me to my pivot point, which is really good.
Wait, can I interrupt really quick?
Yes,
before
go
that?
ahead, go
So
ahead.
just a very quick point based on what you
It comes
said.
us
Because-
again.
Yeah, that's right. Bring up St. Patrick's Day one more time. Without my permission. So, no, I think that's actually a really good point. There's actually been a lot of studies that have been done on that. And it's like, if you go to a new community, it doesn't have to be card games, it could be whatever. It could be a hobby or a sport, it could be a hobby, you know, whatever that might be. If you are made feel welcome by, I think it's like 2 or maybe 3 people, you're like 10 times more likely to come back to that event like the next time.
Right.
So even just people coming over and just saying, hey, how's it going? You know, it doesn't have to be any sort of like complicated thing. You don't have to be their best friend by the end of the day. But just saying like, oh, I made you feel like a human being and we like had human contact is instrumental in that really taking off. So that's just what I wanted to say
Which
really quick
brings-
before.
Go ahead.
And for the love of God, if everybody in the store showered and wore deodorant,
Oh,
I
yeah,
would
also
have
that.
a lot of friends that would come back.
Yeah.
Check out our
I can't
previous
afford
bargain
deodorant, alright?
on
I'm sorry.
hygiene issues and how to avert
I
them.
spent my money on cards. I can't.
Well, wait for our upcoming video on Matt 101. How to take care of yourself.
So your pivot point?
So my good pivot point here is to bring Jamie into this.
I was gonna
one,
ask,
right?
when's the Jamie?
As somebody who typically goes to a card shop with their significant other, or someone who goes in to observe and occasionally play board games and stuff like that. My question to you is this:
Filthy cash.
what of the lowest of cash? I wouldn't even call you cash. I just call it cash.
That sounds like an insult.
What can a game shop do, or what are the great signs that a game shop is welcoming to somebody who isn't there, who is not?
Who is of your caliber?
Yes. I don't want to say low bar, but yeah.
Wow.
Basically, Jamie's presence in a card shop doesn't inherently do anything for the card shop other than he's now a person in this location. He's probably not spending any
How can
money.
we please the peasants? I'm kidding, I'm joking. But all jokes aside, somebody who doesn't, who spends time in the card shop, not specifically to do the activities that are there, but alongside of them. But also, you are a part of the community, regardless, right?
Yeah, first, I like your idea a lot, where somebody actually says hi. That's useful. And beyond that, like, I've liked and wanted to stay in card shops that looked nice. Like, not fluorescent lights, and not plastic tables of dirt and grime all over them.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me, I guess. Like, I don't want to sit down in a place where players who have not showered or have poor bathroom habits have definitely shared the same chair and table. I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna like idly look at Dungeons and Dragons and a couple of weird board games. I'm not gonna buy anything. I don't want to touch anything. I'm just gonna walk out,
Right.
which I've done. So.
I also want to point out the real reason I had Jamie here and ask him questions because I know our female viewership has probably skyrocketed like 300%, and now the comments are flooding. And really, that's all we really needed. So now that that's over with, you can leave now. No kidding.
See you guys.
So something I do want to say is like,
About
you
the
know,
female viewership?
no. Like, everybody's done personality tests. There's something called an entertainer. And I think card shop owners, whether you are actively at your shop, like Jesse mentioned, which you should be, please do that, should either be or hire somebody who is an entertainer personality type. Because you need that person to contact. You need that person to like get somebody involved. And you need that person to feel what the other person's feeling. Because like people, okay, we're all different in their certain ways. You're gonna have the guy who comes in, he's confident from the get-go, needs nothing. But hey man, what can I do for you? Nothing? Cool, you're set. But then you have the person who comes in, doesn't talk much, but you want them to socialize. Then you get the person who comes in happy but leaves kind of sad because they had a bad day. Like, you almost have to work for your clientele. And this is something that, once again, Jesse mentioned, you have to work for your money. Work for your dollars, work for your clientele, or they're just not going to come back because at some point, if your community is not doing it, you have to do it for your community. So, and to wrap it up from what you said, it is a 50-50 relationship, like I've said, both from the player and the owner, and it has to come together. If it doesn't, then like sometimes, like with the new card games, it's just not as easy as Magic. Like, Magic will get anybody and everybody just come in your shop. Doesn't matter. But when it comes to other games, Weiss, Vanguard, Super, whatever, you have to build towards it. And you have to be there to help and understand. Like, as a card shop owner, don't try to understand it all. Just have basic knowledge. Know what Weiss is and how your community, you can cater to that community. Know what Vanguard is. Know what Super is. I'm not telling you to play it. Just know it.
And maybe like a basic understanding of what the sets are.
Exactly.
Now, this is also a great pivot point to one of the few people at this
I was
chair.
about to say,
Who-
I'm getting ignored.
I was like, who has actually worked at a local game shop? Who you actually had to learn every card game, right?
Yes.
Granted,
Except
yeah,
for
go
My
ahead.
Little Pony.
I was going to say, didn't you have to learn all of them?
No, close to
Weiss?
maybe.
Okay.
We didn't really sell that much of
But
it,
wait,
so I was mostly immune.
I'll ask you later.
So, the question to you is from the employee standpoint, not the owner, not the player. You're kind of a middle ground. What do you think an employee's responsibility at a game shop is to benefit that interaction and that relationship?
To destroy the community.
Where is that spot of you?
So the employees they just need to be an extension of the owner as best they can be. There's no replacement for an engaged, passionate owner. If there isn't one, obviously, as Jesse said, it's much harder to really sell the message or the direction of the card shop and tell people, you should want to be here. I want to make sure that you feel wanted here. The employees are there more on the day-to-day basis. They should act as an extension of the owners and be their eyes and ears as well. You know, the owners are typically busy people. Card shops may not be their only venture. They may have another 9 to 5 to help keep this other business they have going. But as employees, be there for the community, be there for the owner. You, as Jose said, you are the middleman. So if you act like it and you're passionate and you enjoy being there and you can act as a TO and a demo person, a salesperson to a degree if need be, then as long as you're serving everybody's interest to the best of your ability without going over the top or doing more than you've been asked to or something like that, then I think you're doing a pretty good job. I don't feel like the onus is entirely on the employees, as there's only so much they can do for anyone at any time. But you
They're only making $7 an hour. Like, you can't put
Yeah,
too much on them right now, let me tell you.
We realize that.
Yeah, but what I
those
will say is, like,
discounts, though-
somebody at McDonald's making the same amount gives you more interaction than some people at the card shop.
To be fair,
I've-
they make more at McDonald's.
That's debatable.
Those discounts though.
Depends on the
Those
McDonald's.
LGS discounts though.
But like, I've walked into game stores where the person doesn't even say hi, nothing. He's just sitting at the cash register. And in order to interact with that individual, you have to say, I want this or I want to buy this.
Okay,
Period.
on the other half of that, I've also walked into McDonald's, where the only time I've interacted with anyone is when I'm like, I want 2 McDoubles and a large fry, thank you.
Yeah, and they still give you a thank you.
Or you go to the drive. They're required to. Like if you go to a Chick-fil-A, which they don't have up north, but if you go to a Chick-fil-A, if you say like
it's called running a business.
No, but they are required when you say, "Oh, thanks for this." They have to say "my pleasure." It is in their corporate.
No.
If they don't say the words "my pleasure," you can slap them.
Wait, no. That one person who used to work at Chick-fil-A who knew like Chick-fil-A's default like dialogue options, like it's a video game, and he pulls up into the drive-thru and uses like this semi like just put together script just to see how many times he can get the employee to say "my pleasure," and he got to like. It was, the number in my head is 59. I don't think that's right. I think it's somewhere actually in the 20s. But you could just chain all the "my pleasures" together because they have to do it every time you make a certain kind of statement.
Also, being a middleman there, and like I get what you're saying honestly, but also you have to remember that food service and any other kind of service vary two different industries. And also, hold on, because I personally do not like to be approached or spoken to in any kind of shopping venture. I hate that. Like when I go into GameStop and a person walks up and is like, "Hey man, how can I help you?" I'm like, "Get away from me."
Yeah,
I am here because I know granted they have no reason to know that, right? But I don't like that, right? So for me, when I walk into a car shop like that, them sitting there and being there on their own space until I present them is how I like the shopping experience.
But that's not what I'm saying.
He addressed that earlier when he said the employee has to like look at the person and be able to read a person, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like you walk in and all they say is "Welcome to X." Like so, if it's my shop, I would require my employees, no matter what they're getting paid, to say "Welcome to the Magic Satchel." That's
Can you
it.
get them to do it like Mo style, where they all have to say it
Oh,
like
well,
loud
no.
enough?
Welcome to Satchel!
And there's one that I hate.
But that's what goes, man. That's
Hate
one bad.
Mo's.
I'm walking to McDonald's and I haven't got anything.
but like my thing is that
I run a
sometimes
restaurant and I
you
don't
could
do any
just
of that.
sometimes it just feels cold.
You just scream at them.
It just feels cold, and that's what I'm saying. It's like as we can do the bare minimum as a society, but we need to stop that right now. Like not to go too deep into this because we're about to go real deep.
We're taking a moral
Like-
high ground.
They don't go deep at all.
But like as a society, we need to start this customer service game. Like just in general, I don't care what you're getting paid. Talk to people. Be thankful. Be graceful. Be nice. Like just do it. Because sometimes you walk into a shop and the dude just looks at you like, why the heck are you here?
I don't like this courteous direction we've taken.
I'm of the opposite opinion. I believe we should tell all customers that retail employees are just people like them and they need to know their own crap when they walk in here. You have the internet. You know what this is. You know what you came for. Why didn't you buy this on Amazon? Come on in. If you need something, I'll be in the back doing inventory or some crap.
I'd hire a guy like Ryan.
Never owned a business.
That being said, this topic could continue stretching out for hours. We'll probably touch upon it again at another time. Does anybody have any last things they'd like to add?
All right, I will.
Please
I will.
catch us
I'll
at
sum it up.
Grand Bar Game Season 2.
How to support your local game store as a customer. Be a decent person. Show up, shower, come to locals.
Be accepting of new players.
Be accepting of new players.
If you're gonna show up for a tournament, maybe buy like one thing. You know, just if you can.
At least,
Even if it's a snack.
Even just sleeves or a snack.
Yeah.
You don't have to get your cards there. Not all shops are gonna cater to your game in the way that you need it to be. Like
That's right.
I need exactly what I need for Card Fight. And neither of my local game stores that I could go to are going to just be able to provide that to me at any kind of, one, at all, or two, at any kind of price I find acceptable. But I'll get my sleeves there, some dice, or some fun little tchotchke type deal, a little fun dice pack. Like, I'll absolutely buy something.
Alright, you want to say something,
Small addendum. Anybody who has who sells healthy food there, like even just the lowest bar is a Cliff
Like
Bar.
an apple.
Like,
Yeah, no, that's
like
smart.
something that's not just like beef jerky and chips, which I like. But I would spend $5 to buy a Cliff Bar at a game store to just solve my hunger problem for a tournament that lasts like 8 hours.
And have water.
And
Like-
water, yes.
Like, please have bottled water.
I want a salad and a Pokeball.
Sometimes you just walk in, they got Mountain Dew everywhere. It's like, please.
All 5 flavors.
All right, how to support your local game store as the store. Be passionate about whatever community you're working with, because they know, or they're just going to be discouraged. It's going to be like they're going to walk behind your back and say, hey guys, I know we play here, but here's actually where to get your stuff. If you're passionate and you really put the time and the work in with this community, they're going to be like, well, of course we're going to buy our stuff here. These guys love us. We feel super welcome here. So if you can put at least that much passion in, have your employees display some of that too, or work with community members to make sure that the community holds up and that they know that they're supported by your store. You know, it kind of sucks to not be Magic in any store that's very Magic centric, but if it's like, well, you're not Magic, who are you? Why do I care that you're here? You could go anywhere else. And I would be okay with that. If that's your perspective as a store, these people aren't going to give you their money, even if you carry their product. Not a chance. So have passion, and if you're a customer, shower.
Yes. And also I think as a player, bring your best attitude. Like, card games are kind of inherently a social activity. You have to sit across from another person. It's not you're getting on PSN or whatever, like voice chat. You're not on Discord. You're not just speaking into the void. There's another human being across from you. So if you're going to get super salty because you lost for whatever reason, that's not really, I don't want to play with you.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be real salty when you get knocked out too.
Matt, anything you want to add?
Say what?
I said allow me.
No, yeah, but, all right, that being said, let us know what you think.
All for prize pool. All right.
Okay. All right.
You're a joke.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Always remember, subscribe to Team Absolution for more videos. This is the Grand Bargate signing off. Peace.